way. You no longer exist, you're no longer
Welcome to AfterMat, your source for WWE pay-per-view recaps. I am your host, the People's Champ Cal, and alongside me as always, I have my tag team partner, the Glamazon, Delisha. What's going on, Delisha? Wait, I think you're still on mute. Wait, you're on mute. Hold on. There you go, okay. So what's going on?
Not much, another Monday, another recap going on. Excited.
Okay, sorry. I was reading Will's tweet. Yeah, I saw those tweets. Well, I'll probably I'll refer to those whenever Delisha and I give the recap. I will refer to those. Thank you very much. I'm going to your Twitter now, and I'll make sure I'll give you credit when I say them. But yeah, okay. So today we have the recap of Royal Rumble 2022, the first pay-per-view. Or not. Well, I can't even say the first pay-per-view of the year because we had a day one, but the first of the big four of the year. So yeah, I mean, it's one of our favorite pay-per-views, I believe, right? I think you agreed saying it's one of your favorites as well. We've been to, or at least I've been to it, and we were there for you in Philadelphia for these, like that weekend we were together, at least at NXT and stuff like that. But yeah, it's always exciting. This year, I think, might have been, at least for me, less exciting because there were fewer surprise entrants, and I'm not even sure if they were. When you get to your recap of the Women's Rumble, if there are certain even NXT entrances from either men or women, which is very weird, especially with all the cuts that they've had lately. You'd figure that they'd throw in some NXT people in there, or at least more surprises of legends. But hey, maybe they're doing what I've been saying forever. Why don't you use your own talent that you currently have, right? And I guess they did start using they started using more of their own talent, which is good for them, I guess. Some people got chances that normally wouldn't get chances. Alicia, your thoughts, without giving away what overall grades and stuff. How'd you feel about it?
Going into the Rumble, I was actually pretty pumped because without certain things happening that did happen, if those didn't happen, it was going to be very supposedly could have been a very unpredictable Rumble with a lot of potential for a lot of different people to win and get a storyline for WrestleMania. And so I was really excited about that. There was a couple of matches on the card that I were going to be good. I felt like the card itself, on paper, this was stacked up to be a solid pay-per-view because we had Roman Reigns and Rollins, we had Lesnar and Lashley, we had Becky. I do not call her by the name of the
Dewdrop.
Her paper neck.
I didn't see that. Honestly, I didn't see that as a marquee match, but okay.
Yeah, on paper, it seemed like it should be a good match. Maybe not a marquee for Big Four, but on paper, it should stand out.
I don't know much about her though.
Two of our favorite couples,
yep.
Miz and Edge and Bex. I was really excited for the card that we're gonna get. Some of the stuff didn't pan out as I would have hoped, but that's on the fans.
Maybe I was happy, maybe I wasn't, because I might have called something earlier in the evening that might have happened later, but we'll talk about it when it gets to it. But let me go ahead say hi to Will and Arrington both in the chat. Welcome, guys. Hope you guys are having a good evening. Will's at work, and Will has supplied us with a plethora of Royal Rumble facts. I won't go over the historical facts. I think I said them last year, but for this current Royal Rumble, once we go over each Rumble, I will give the facts for that specific Rumble when we go over it. But yeah, I mean, Royal Rumble always has the most excitement because it's what they say begins the road to WrestleMania, right? So that's the big thing. What happens after that is who's going to face whom, which we probably pretty much almost knew ahead of time in a way. But still, there's excitement. some there's shock as well. I know what you and I both were shocked by a certain entrant that came in. But yeah, it was pretty fun. But we'll get to it. Started off with the first match, which started off the big way. And I know I texted you right away about this match because Delisha always says she's a sucker for stories. And right off the bat, the way the match started, oh boy. The first match started out with the Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. And Roman Reigns is your current champion.
Yeah, our tribal chief versus technically Monday Night Rollins, although this is a SmackDown match, so Friday night. Anyway, it's the I guess this is almost kind of like a rubber match or kind of like a revenge match for Reigns, because I believe the story was he has never beaten Rollins one-on-one, and Seth has always gotten the upper hand somehow, starting all the way back when he turned his back on the Shield. We even got a mention of Moxley, I believe, a week ago. It was short, and if you weren't paying attention, you would miss it. But it was cool that he's not forgotten because he was a big part of that group. And right off the bat, Rollins comes in with the mind games, coming out to the Shield music. Well, after we had Reigns come out first, and people were like, "That's weird." But then after when Rollins comes out, you understand why. He comes out to the Shield music in his old gear, coming through the crowd. Right off the bat, playing mind games to Reigns. And shout out to Reigns for selling this throughout the whole match of just how frustrated and upset he was with Rollins throughout this whole ordeal. And actually, right off the bat, Rollins, because I guess the story for the match was he's got in his head, was all over Reigns. He had most of the upper hand throughout the whole match. Even giving him a I guess they were calling it a shield bomb, but can you call it that when it's just one person? It's usually when it's supposed to be like two. Anyway, through the announce table. But of course, Reigns being the powerhouse that he is, he's gonna get back up. He's kicking out. I think he even missed. Being able to miss out on like the stomp, because I think we stopped calling it the curb stomp again. But with even when Reigns tried to get on the offensive, Seth again would not go down after spears, and I think he attempted a drive-by but turned it into a spear on the outside of the ropes. And even with a Superman punch, Rollins, sorry God, the R's are messing me up, still kicking out. Even after getting hit with the Superman punch and kicking out, he put his fist out like they would do with the Shield. Just suckering Reigns in, trying to do mind games. And he would have to Reigns go deeper into his repertoire for. I think we've seen him use this as into a match of the guillotine chokehold. But they were near the rope, so you can see Rollins fading, and the ref, because Rollins is not tapping, they have to do the whole, if you drop your hand on the mat, you're gonna be counted out. Not counted out, but saying not able to compete. And because of the angle of the camera, it looks like when the ref put Seth's hand up and it grabbed onto the rope, but it looks like the ref kind of assisted him in that. I think it was just camera. I don't think because he did look like he was close enough to the ropes for that to happen. So he supposed to break the hold. Reigns did not. So I should have actually went back and counted this of how many times Reigns has gotten disqualified in his matches to keep his belt. But Reigns retains via disqualification. Well, Seth wins, but Reigns retains from disqualification because he refused to release the hold. But that's not all, because he was so frustrated. I guess one, because he couldn't beat Rollins one-on-one cleanly. He decided to give a little payback once again for that previous chair shot to the back that he received years ago in the Shield, and just attacked Seth with the chair over and over again until he deemed it was fit to stop. But overall, I did enjoy the match. Again, if you know the history between these two, it was a culmination of all of that and rolled into one. But we might still play around with this because of the way it ended. But we do have some other storylines that we can see going forward as well. So it's a lot of things still being jumbled. We thought this would be a wrap up. Not quite so, but overall, I did really enjoy the match. And honestly, these two, they are two greats. They're one of the greatest of their generation of the last couple of years. So I don't know what I didn't think we were gonna get a bad match with these two. But what did you think?
Yeah, I loved how that he came out to the Shield. That Seth Rollins came out to the Shield entrance. That was great. But he still kept that whole Seth freaking Rollins like swagger, like where he's like, doing that little shoulder shimmy or whatever he does. Great match.
The only thing he was missing was the blonde streak.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great match. I enjoyed it. I knew there was gonna be a good match. I didn't want to see Roman lose because I love having him as champion. And I don't know. This might be the first time actually, honestly, that he's been disqualified to win. Like, because something I know that something with the Usos happened and stuff like that, but like, he had some 700-day streak of something, and it just ended here. So that might have been the DQ streak or something. I don't know what it was, but I should have looked into it before I went on. But he had some 700-day streak. Maybe Will might know or Joe might know. But some 732-day streak that recently just ended with this match. So it might have been some DQ thing, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, it did kind of look like the referee put the hand on the what do you call it, on the
Ropes.
on the ropes. That kind of took away from the match a little bit. Will's been annoyed by that as well. I understand. I see that and all that kind of stuff. But I did really enjoy the match. I thought it was really good. The story throughout the match with him holding up the fist for like the old Shield thing, like Seth Rollins played his character very, very well. I really liked that. And Roman played his character well, and the paying homage to how Seth turned on him and Roman and Ambrose back in the day with the him in the chair. Roman brought that back. That was great to see, and great to see him still as champion. I wanted 700 plus days of not being pinned, which continues. Okay, I thought I could have sworn some streak ended. Will though the articles talk about some streak ending at 732 days. I don't know what that was, but there's some streak that ended at 732 days. But yeah. This was a great match. I really thought it was going to be a good match. I'm glad to see Roman still as champion, but unfortunately, this probably means he's going to face it again. He might face him again in Elimination Chamber, but fortunately, he's probably going to win at Elimination Chamber because we know what the WrestleMania match is probably going to be. We'll talk about that later on in the evening. Overall, great match. And yeah, anything else you want to add before we do the next match? No. All right. Next match is your 30 women over the top Royal Rumble match, where the winner will get a shot at the champion of their choosing at WrestleMania. Felicia?
I'm on mute. Oh. Oh. No, I was just gonna preface to say, like, I do not read like any of the rumor mills, especially when it comes to the Rumble, because I love going into this blind and not being spoiled on anything. So every surprise that probably wasn't a surprise to someone else was definitely a surprise to me.
Oh yeah, sorry. Let me say something real quick. I didn't read them either. Like I didn't want to know, like, because they're like, oh, like when I open Google, like from my history, I look at a lot of wrestling stuff. I look a lot at video game stuff. So like my suggested news would always be like and crypto stuff, cryptocurrency. I see like a lot of news about cryptocurrency, wrestling, and video games. And like I saw like Legend spotted at St. Louis for Royal Rumble, and I didn't want to click it because I didn't want to know who's showing up at Royal Rumble. Just like you, I didn't want to know. I want to be surprised. So yeah. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Well, entrant wasn't a surprise because she came back to SmackDown the night before. That was Sasha Banks. Her entering at number one was a little bit of a surprise, but what really surprised was number two. Was I guess our first like legend return would be Melina, who for the last I think 4 years hasn't been able to come back and won the Rumble. So this is like her first like a legend return for the Women's Rumble, which is awesome. I mean, I guess there's still a lot of in the
Sorry, thank you. Okay, there she's back. I'm sorry, I was just saying, yeah, she just said Sasha Banks is the first entrant, Melina's the second entrant. We were both shocked to see her first, Sasha being the first entrant, but I did text Will when it first started because I assumed that she would set a record of lasting long, and Alicia can get into whether she lasted long. She's loading in right now. Yeah, I hear you, but your video's loading in, but you can start talking. Continue talking.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know. Discord just was like, no, you've talked enough already, apparently. So, let me get my notes back up. So yeah, so we have Melina coming in as number 2, and I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna be a really good face-off between this cool legend who I enjoyed in her tenure back in WWE, especially when it came to her in the feuds where she had Mickey James. But no, she would be eliminated in about 30 seconds by Sasha, who actually had a really cool Sailor Moon gear. I wanted to point that out. And just like that, she was out and just waiting for the next contendant, who I believe was Kelly. I think that's sorry. I think I'm making sure. Anyway, I kind of like condensed on my notes so I don't have every single intro coming in because that would take like another 20 minutes. But we had Kelly coming in, and then after that we had Tamina, and then Kelly. I think I blinked and I missed a botch move that she did. I do remember her doing the will we call that the tarantula submission move? I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of like a tarantula, or octopus. Yeah, the octopus that Tajiri used to do.
Yeah, but
Tamina was 3, Kelly was 4.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. But it's like, why would you do that or go over the top rope on an over the top rope match? So she easily was eliminated once again. And this will kind of be a theme for Sasha, kind of being the quote unquote. No, I'll get to that when we get later on. And then so her and Tamina are going after it for a little bit, and pretty soon, not too long after that, we had Miss Queen Zelina coming out. I don't recall the character's name, but I think it was another Naruto cosplay, which I guess is one of her favorite animes because she cosplays from that a lot. Did you know who that character?
I don't watch Naruto, but I guess Skye would know if Skye was here.
Okay, well, someone will. I mean, if you look it up, your answer will be there. But and so kind of Banks was kind of being quoted. I was like, oh, is she gonna be like our little legend killer and our little, like Cal said, our woman for this year? Because last year I believe it was Bianca who went the distance and won. No, she would be eliminated by Zelina, which was kind of odd because I mean, if it was for story purposes, I guess cool, fine. But they're on totally different brands, so it was just like, okay, I guess shock value. But speaking of Bianca, she would actually come out not too long after that. And then we got another legend returning in Michelle McCool, I believe in her second Rumble now. And she would go, and then after that, I believe we had Dana Brooke coming out with Reggie, so automatically knew, oh, they're going to try something, and he's going to save her. And exactly that's what happens. Michelle McCool, I believe, either tossed her out or tried to kick her out, and Reggie caught her and put her back in the ring for Michelle McCool just to toss her out again. So that was kind of a wasted spot, in my opinion. Because it was just like, if she's going to get thrown out in 3 seconds, why do the save at all? But after that, we got our Sonya Deville in the jacket. So that meant she was authoritarian Sonya Deville, and then technically no one could lay a hand on her, even though she's an entrant in the Rumble. But that's fine. She did not enter the Rumble or the ring itself. She went and chilled out on the announce table, picking her spot whenever she wanted. If you know what was going on with Sonya Deville, then you knew she was probably waiting for Naomi anyway to throw her out or keep her from winning the Rumble of some venture. And it was actually funny because after that we got a big surprise for me, because I was like, oh, I had no idea she was coming back in the WWE. That would be Cameron, if you would know, Naomi's I wouldn't say a close friend from the Funkadactyls years ago. they entered into the business together, and that is when apparently Sonya learned for the first time that was one of Naomi's closest friends, and then she decided, oh, it's time for me to get in the Rumble just to eliminate Cameron, who looked so excited to be there, and then immediately was eliminated by Sonya, and then surprisingly, but not surprisingly, Naomi was the next entrant out, immediately going after Sonya after checking on Cameron, going after Sonya, which really they had a knockout, drag out brawl in the middle of the ring, while everyone else just kind of like stayed around the perimeter of the ring, just throwing punches here and there while those two got it on. But Naomi was able to eliminate Sonya, so she got to pin her, I believe, 2 weeks, no, last Friday night, and then got to eliminate Deville on SmackDown. So that was pretty cool. So you was like, oh, okay, this is over. She done got the final say. We'll see later on if that actually plays in. And coming out later on would be the Queen herself, our SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair, and then who would try to attempt to eliminate Naomi, but Naomi slid under the ring, able to catch her feet onto the bottom rope. And you're like, oh, cool, Naomi's spot. She's gonna get herself back in, but no, Deville never left to go to the back. She pulls Naomi out, making Naomi be eliminated. So, unfortunately, we are still not done with that. After months and months and months of like, will they, won't they, and then they do, and now it seems to be continuing. Because also, we still don't even know why Deville despises her. We don't know why. And but after that, I believe we had Ripley had come in at some point, Rhea Ripley, and a couple of others had come in at this point. And at this point, we got another legend in Ivory, but not regular Ivory. RTC Right to Censor Ivory. And as soon as you heard those sirens, if you were Attitude Era 90s kid like me, your ears immediately started bleeding. But she came in just full on promo about all the little girls in the ring who did not deserve to be here, and how much WWE has not changed or changed for that matter. All the way to the ring, up in Ripley's face. Ripley tosses her out the ring, still cutting the promo, mind you, while she's being tossed out the ring and onto the floor. So I just thought that was pretty funny. And then after that, we had one of the Bellas coming back. I believe it was Brie coming back out first. And then after that, we got Mickie James, but not just Mickie James turned to WWE. No. If you remember, this is TNA Impact Women's Champion Mickie James in her Impact gear and Impact, or I guess you could just call it her non-WWE theme song, which was great to see. And the crowd was really happy to see her back, especially to kind of give her somewhat proper like send off, because the way she left before was not on good terms. But we immediately got to see like a little old rivalry between her and Michelle McCool go at it. If you know their history, then you know why fans were kind of like really excited to see that. And then after that, we got Nikki ASH coming into the match. She, of course, would pique the ire of Rhea Ripley, who she turned on 2 weeks ago. So Ripley's waiting for her to come down a ramp. She doesn't come down a ramp. She comes from the Timekeeper's area and attacks and tries to throw Rhea out, but Rhea's a little too strong and was able to get back in the ring. And they kind of play up that rivalry throughout the Rumble. And then we had our other Bella coming back out to help be with her sister. So we have like kind of like a tag team situation going on here. This actually might have been, if it wasn't for Rhea and Nikki splitting, this is kind of like our first like sort of like tag team coming together to help each other out. And then after that, this was a really big surprise for me, was Sarah Logan, because she, if you know, she was released back in 2020. But she was out there at the same time that Liv Morgan was out there, and we're like, oh, we get a little Riot Squad reunion. No, we do not. The Bellas turn heel quickly and then tosses them off the ring, and there was that. But it was still a nice, like, little quiet moment, like almost like if you know, you know, type of thing. Because I don't even think the announcers got a chance to even mention those two connections before they got thrown out of the ring. And then after that, to the biggest pop of the second biggest pop of the night, coming in at number 26 was Lita, who was already previously announced, but even though she was announced, everyone was so excited to see her. And she looked great, and she was doing her Lita things in the ring. And then quickly after that was surprised, but not surprised because I got spoiled on a headline. Well, not spoiled, more like again rumor, but I didn't click on it. Coming in at number 28 was Ronda Rousey coming back after leaving for a little bit. I think for mental health reasons and after having a baby. Again, probably because I think she might have had the biggest pop. I don't know. You have to compare the two between her and Lita. Those two set the fans on fire. Of course, for a big stare from Charlotte Flair in the ring. So immediately you're like, oh, I see what they're trying to do now. To where Rousey, which they let her do Rousey things and run through the women of eliminating. I believe she eliminated Brie, Nikki ASH, and then no, she didn't. After trying to get Nikki out, it looked like Brie was gonna help her, but she kind of paid her back from either last year or the year before's Rumble. Oh no, the
first ever women's.
Yeah, where Nikki eliminated her. So there was that. I don't quite remember who was number 29, but number 30 was Miss Shayna Baszler, who unfortunately, which shouldn't have happened, me and Cal forgot she was in the Rumble.
29 was Shotzi.
Right, because we've forgotten about Shotzi too, because they haven't done much with her either. To give us our final four of Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, and Shayna Baszler. So with those final four, you kind of start to know where they will be going with this. Flair was able to eliminate Baszler and Belair at the same time, leaving her with just Rousey. And I thought we were just going to get maybe a little bit of one-on-one, like they usually sometimes do, fighting to see who can put one over the rope. But no, Ronda just tosses Charlotte out of the rope, and Rousey is your 2022 female Royal Rumble winner. Overall, I feel like with a lot of the returns that we didn't know were coming, I still feel like I had a little bit of fun with it. The way some of the legends went out, I know didn't sit right with some people, especially Melina getting thrown out within the first 30 seconds of the Rumble starting. But I do think overall, I had fun with the people who were there, but it was just kind of incohesive and kind of all over the place. And then the whole Rousey of it all. I mean, again, I would understand, in a business sense, why you would have her win the Rumble. I know people are saying that they think that she's going after Charlotte, but I thought that, especially with what Becky tweeted before the Rumble, that maybe it'd be Becky, but who knows? Either way, she's going after one of those two, and that will be your WrestleMania match. And, but yeah, it kind of fell flat when you're just like, oh, we're just going to go with a predictable choice once Rousey was in the Rumble. You're like, oh yeah, she's going to win it all.
Yeah, I was kind of upset not to see NXT women. I know you're usually the purple. Oh, by the way, if you want to try shutting off your camera and turning it on again because it's still loading up and hasn't loaded in yet. Yeah, I know you usually are the proponent for NXT, but I've been following the women a lot in NXT because I don't know they've been really good, and I was hoping my girl Cora Jade would be there, but she was not, and I was pretty sad about that. But whatever, it's all right.
So didn't get at the very least Io Shirai or Raquel Gonzalez. Those would have been my top, or Dakota Kai. Those would have been my top 3 picks from NXT.
I heard Raquel's leaving, so I don't think she'd be there. So, but
I might have, while you talk, I might have to leave and come back out again, on my own and come back in.
Yeah, and I was also upset not to see Paige. I know there were some talks about Paige coming back from her injury, but it's all right. As for the Rumble itself, I really expected someone like Liv Morgan or Sasha to win, or Alexa Bliss to come back. I would really want Alexa Bliss to come back. I really was hoping for that, but I did not see her come back either. So that was kind of sad to see. So I was a fan of Rousey. I do like her work in the WWE. Did I want her to come back and win? Probably not. She doesn't need that. I was hoping someone like Liv Morgan. I didn't think Liv Morgan would. If you watched last month's Aftermath, or the previous Aftermath, I said Liv Morgan would probably win the Elimination Chamber and then go on to face Becky, which looks like it might still happen. We'll see. But I was hoping someone like Alexa would come back and win it. I wasn't expecting Ronda to come back, but I guess she took Alexa's place and did it. Like Alicia pointed out during the pay-per-view that, Alexa's still doing her segments, therefore she probably doesn't expect her to come back. So she was right about that. But other than that, it was a decent Royal Rumble. I didn't really like it as much. I know Will said he thought this was a better one than the men's, but I enjoyed the men's better because from what happened at the end, it's much more like what I thought would happen, and it did happen. So I did really enjoy that. But thanks to Will, we have some stats for the women's Royal Rumble match. Let's go with the rookies first. The rookies that appeared for the women's Royal Rumble is Melina at number 2, Aaliyah at number 5, Cameron at number 13, Ivory at number 18, Summer Rae at 23, and Ronda Rousey at 28. Those are the rookies that you see at the Royal Rumble, women's Royal Rumble for this year. And for some other stats, we have the longest survivor, Bianca Belair, at 47 minutes and 32 seconds. The most eliminations by Ronda Rousey. Will has had 7, 4 of which are solo, which are recognized by WWE, 3 of which are assisted. The shortest time was Molly Holly at 19 seconds, and the winner, which is Ronda Rousey, was at 10 minutes and 15 seconds. So thank you to Will for those stats. But yeah, that's what we have for the match. And Ronda Rousey is now going to go announce who she's going to face at Royal Rumble tonight on Raw. So it's probably being announced now, but we'll wait and see. But yeah, any other thoughts, Felicia, before we move to the next match? You're on mute right now.
About the women who were in it, it was fine to see. Just that it was just a little clunky for the whole end result. Because usually you would get maybe some play out, some storylines that you can see happening down the line on Raw or SmackDown, and I feel like we didn't get really much any of that.
Oh, it was also finally nice to see Shayna and Ronda together as the 4 horsewomen of the UFC together.
But then they didn't even really do much together.
Yeah, but I mean, we've been waiting for that forever. But now that Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke are gone, it's kind of a moot point. But it was nice to see for a little bit.
Yeah.
The next match was for the Raw Women's Championship, featuring the Raw Women's Champion Becky Lynch against Doudrop. Now I know Delicia does not like to call her Doudrop, and she goes by her name Piper Devon, but I like to call her Doudrop because whenever I say the word Doudrop, I think of Alexa Bliss saying, "Hey Doudrop," to Doudrop, whenever Alexa was crazy and feuding with Eva Marie. And she's like, "Hi, Doudrop." And I always think of that. Anyway, this match, I did not think was a marquee match for a big 4 pay-per-view. But hey, let's give her a chance. Doudrop pretty much, being... My dad said it, it's an unfair match because of weight classes. We don't really talk about weight, but, it kind of showed here. Becky Lynch did her best, but the challenger just pretty much overwhelmed Becky the entire match, using a lot of senton drops and stuff. Not senton, senton bombs, whatever you want to call them. And she continuously used her power and size against Becky. Becky was, however, resilient throughout the match, using her speed and agility, doing some flying moves, using it might have been like a Superman punch, but it wasn't really a Superman punch. It was like a Superman forearm. So, but she basically did a lot of quick moves. Went for the disarmer a few times. Turned into an arm bar. But Doudrop was then to a pin, and then Doudrop was able to kick out at 1. So basically, Doudrop's power and size showed throughout the match. Finally, I think they went to the outside, and Becky took advantage and pummeled Doudrop for a while. Told her to stay down, and then they got back inside. I think she hit Becky with a power bomb, but Becky kicked, and then a senton, and Becky kicked out. Then Becky went and hit a crazy leg drop off the top, and then finally Becky hit the manhandle slam off the second rope, and that's how she put her away. So it was basically a David versus Goliath match. Oh yeah. Delicia also mentioned that I saw the fans chanting, so I was like, oh, what are they chanting? Is it a beach ball? Is it what is going on? Or what are the fans chanting about? And then Will happened to find out that it was a WrestleMania sign was on fire after Becky Lynch's pyrotechnics. So they had to clear out the section, which makes me wonder, did they get a refund? Did they get a future event tickets when it comes back to St. Louis? I don't know what happens, but Yeah, those were nice seats too. I saw it was like pretty much not. It was floor seats, but not ringside. It was floor, but not ringside. So they were really nice seats. So I wonder what happens honestly after that. But yeah, so Becky retained after that manhandle slam off the second rope. Wasn't really much of a match. It's what you see from a bigger opponent against a smaller opponent. Bigger opponent downing most of the time, but then the smaller opponent using their agility to win the match eventually at the end. I didn't expect Becky to drop the title here. She's probably gonna drop it at WrestleMania if anything. Remember, Becky Lynch also does have a undefeated streak for a while. She had to relinquish the championship due to her pregnancy, so she hasn't really lost the championship since she won it at WrestleMania, whatever that was, against Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. Delisha, your thoughts?
Really excited, and then disappointed because I feel like the matchup was up to my expectations of what I know that these two could do. Yeah, I don't really know why they didn't let them like really go at it. Because like if you've seen like NXT UK or some of her like independent matches, you know that Piper can really like get it done in the ring. She's a really fantastic wrestler. But this one just didn't do it for me. This is pretty much kind of like I forget what match it was like on the last on day one. It could have been on Raw, and it probably just would have been fine in that slot. But you know we had to have a women's championship match to go, and I think that's kind of been like the issue, kind of like with Becky's reign this time around. Bianca aside, she hasn't really had a like really big like marquee opponent. Like the Liv Morgan stuff was great because you know she's a young underdog and the fans are behind her, but there really hasn't been like, oh man, I can't wait to see these two go at it. Like we kind of do want to see her and Bianca like finally like really go at it, and I kind of do hope we do get that back down the line because I want to see Bianca get redemption for the way she was treated. But yeah, I don't even think we even gotten like a Becky Rhea or actually, or I'm not even sure we even got like a Becky Shayna, but I think Shayna's on SmackDown now. I think that's why. Anyway, so yeah, she doesn't really have a like marquee opponent that I feel like we've all been like excited for, and maybe that might be Ronda now. Because like I was mentioning before, she tweeted something. It was a list of like her past opponents, and she was like, "Who else is there for me to beat?" or something like that. You know, Becky's trolling nature on Twitter, and which made me think that she would be going, that Ronda might be going after Becky, possibly just to heat that back up. But the way that they play things on Rumble, it also could be Charlotte. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't, to be honest, I don't care either way because I don't really care about Ronda Rousey.
I see Ronda Rousey challenging Charlotte and Becky. Like I said, I've been saying forever. Liv Morgan's gonna go ahead and win the Elimination Chamber and challenge Becky at WrestleMania.
Again, just like you said about Doudrop and I said it, and Becky, that doesn't sound like a marquee match, a WrestleMania match. But well, we'll have to wait till after the chamber to find out.
I honestly think the day one match really like brought up Liv Morgan's stock. That's why I feel like it's gonna be a WrestleMania match.
Yeah.
If anything, it's gonna be Bianca Belair. If not Liv Morgan, it's gonna be Bianca Belair. But how many times do we need to see Bianca Belair now? She's had her moment. She beat Sasha Banks in one of the best women's matches at WrestleMania ever. You know, and that was a huge moment. You know, not only for women but for African Americans as well. That was huge. I loved it. Right? You could see the emotion on their face when the match was starting on night one of WrestleMania. Like I feel like that was all Bianca Belair ever needed. Like I feel like Sasha got some like for that too, but she never got her moment for winning. Right? So maybe Sasha could face Becky or Liv Morgan. Like one of those two need it. Bianca doesn't need it. Becky doesn't need it. Sasha and Liv need it.
Either whether it be tonight or in the next couple of weeks, things will start to play out. But yeah, this match kind of fell flat of what it could have been, so that was disappointing.
Yeah. All right. Next match was for the WWE title, featuring the WWE champion Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman in his corner against the challenger Bobby Lashley with MVP in his corner. Oh, that's a good idea, Will. Triple threat: Becky versus Belair versus Morgan. Only if Morgan wins, because Morgan needs it. Only if Morgan wins, because why take away from a moment for Becky for Liv Morgan to be in the match Just have Bianca win it, only if Morgan wins. Anyway, this match, as I said, would probably last like maybe 10 minutes. I think it might have been longer than 10 minutes. Let's see. I just want to look up the official match time. It was... Oh, sorry. 10 minutes and 15 seconds. Okay, so I thought it'd last 10 minutes, but it lasted 10 minutes and 15 seconds, so I stand corrected. We got 15 extra seconds of solid matchup, which is probably one of them laying on the ground. I did not expect much from this match. I was excited for this match, but I thought it would just be a lot of jockeying, much like WrestleMania 20, Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar, the first time where everyone booed them out of the arena. I felt the same way. We have two collegiate wrestlers, like fantastic collegiate wrestlers. I expected to see that, but these guys are too big nowadays, and they're not old, but I want to say they're older than they were back in college. So I was expecting to see a nice grapple ground game like Kurt Angle does, but we didn't see that. We saw tie up, push down, tie up, push down, tie up, suplex, belly to back suplex, tie up, 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 belly to back suplex. That's what we saw. We saw like 17 belly to back suplexes from either person. We saw a spear that went wrong on the outside. And then we saw, what do you call those things? The hurt lock that Brock was able to sort of get out of by bumping Bobby into the referee, and then Bobby got immediately put into an F5, which ended up hitting the referee as the F5 went off. This allowed the referee to be knocked out for a while. Brock got up again, set up for another F5, but Roman came out and speared him, then held out his hand, which caused Paul Heyman to give the WWE title to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns did the Superman punch or just hit Brock Lesnar with the title, which somehow knocked out Brock Lesnar for like 74 minutes. At this exact moment, another referee came out, and Bobby Lashley covered Brock Lesnar for the 1, 2, 3. We have a new champion in Bobby Lashley, which was very much expected because before this match even happened, I texted Delisha, I think maybe even Will, Skye, about if Brock Lesnar loses, he might appear later on the Royal Rumble and win it just so he can face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. We'll see if that happens later on. We'll get to that. But this match, unfortunately, this match could have been a 4.5 to 5-star match by the skill level of these two wrestlers. Now, we know Brock Lesnar only really wants to work when he wants to work. Bobby Lashley is a great athlete throughout. I think, like as Alicia would call it, Brock Lesnar has that Randy Orton syndrome, where Randy Orton can make things look really good when he wants to. Brock Lesnar is the same way, but even more to the degree of more than Randy Orton, because Randy Orton loves the business more than Brock, for what I see. But I still love Brock. I love that he's like that old school champion that only shows up once in a while, defends his title once in a while. But to his credit, though, he's been here for the last few pay-per-views, so I have to give him that. And he's been showing up to Raw and SmackDown, so I have to give him that as well. But I didn't expect much for this match. It could have been a lot better than it was. But I'm glad to see Bobby Lashley champion again. Welcome, Slater. Oh, yeah, for friends to say, welcome to Entertained, welcome to Randall, and welcome to Bobby. No, don't spoil it, because I love that. But yeah, it was great. Well, I'm saying it's great to what Bobby, not Bobby Lashley, but Bobby Slaterman said in the chat. Yeah, I'm glad Lashley's champion. Having him go to WrestleMania again as champion. I mean, was he champion last WrestleMania or did he win? I don't even know. No, you guys are just salty. because of what happened. So I don't even talk about what you guys are saying in the chat. Y'all just salty. Because we're gonna get to what happens in the Rumble later. But and you're mad that I was right about my prediction. Will made like 17 predictions and was wrong. He said Johnny Knoxville will win the Royal Rumble. Johnny Knoxville did not win. So I said who would win the Royal Rumble. I was wrong about that, but I said if this guy loses, Brock Lesnar loses, maybe he'll end up later in the Royal Rumble and win it. We'll see if that happens later. But yeah, I loved it. It was a great match. Brock wasn't at Mania. He wasn't. I'm saying Brock. I'm saying Bobby. Wasn't Bobby the champion last year at WrestleMania and he defended against somebody? Or did I just make that up? I have no idea. Or was last year's WrestleMania the one that Drew beat Brock? It's all like, with COVID, everything is like, no. Last year was a live WrestleMania. Last year was the first ever live crowd in a while. I can't remember what happened. I can't remember who the WWE title was. Oh, Bobby was okay. Faced Drew. Okay, there you go. Yeah. So Bobby was champion, right? And he faced Drew, and he retained. Yeah, that's what happened. So this could be the second year in a row Bobby Lashley goes in as the champion, which is crazy. I don't mind it. I feel like he might face Big E for some reason, and do what Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks did last year. But I don't see them. I don't see them main eventing, right? Because I think the women will main event night one. Will they make the main event? If they have Big E versus Bobby Lashley, can someone check this? Fact check it. Is it the first time 2 African Americans headlined a WrestleMania? Even though that'll probably be match one. I mean, final match of night one. Because I'm sure the final match of all WrestleMania will be whoever Roman Reigns faces, which we'll talk about at the end of the night. Big E's on SmackDown. I don't know. I don't know these things, man. I don't know who's on Raw, who's on SmackDown. It changes every day. I'm just saying, I could see Bobby Lashley winning the Elimination Chamber and challenging Bobby Lashley. Because Brock Lesnar is going to make his choice now if he hasn't already. Because did Raw start yet? Oh, Raw didn't start yet. So Brock Lesnar will make his choice on Raw, and the winner of the Men's Royal Rumble will make his choice on Raw, and he'll probably choose Roman Reigns, and then Bobby Lashley will end up. Big E will end up winning the Elimination Chamber and choose Bobby Lashley, much like Kofi. And that could be the first time 2 African Americans ever face off for a WWE Championship or main event WrestleMania on the first night, unless they give it to the women again, which I don't mind. But it'll be nice to see Big E versus Bobby for the championship, because I think it would mean a lot to them. Yeah, Bobby Lashley's defending. Oh, he's defending in the chamber. Oh. Well, then. I don't know. See, like, I don't read all those newses and things, but... Okay, so while Bobby Lashley's defending in chamber... I don't know. Forget everything I said. Because WWE listens to this show, and they take my ideas, and they're like, oh, it's too good of an idea, let's not use it. Anyway, please share your thoughts about this match. I went on way too long, because I got sidetracked by the chat. I was distracted by the chat, and I started arguing.
Yeah, match itself was great. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad they let them, like, go for a bit and not just be, like, a squash match that sometimes they'll let Brock do. So, yeah, the ending, yeah, as soon as the ending happened with Reigns, I was like, oh, here we go. Even though I was like, there was a part of me hopeful that was like, oh, you know, there's a story right here and there. He doesn't need to enter a Rumble. So I was like 25%, okay, maybe like 10% hopeful that they wouldn't do that. I'm glad to see Bobby have a championship again. That's pretty cool to see. I think he was doing really great. He's been the best he's ever been in WWE right now, so that's great. Oh yeah, so yeah, and then he kind of retained it because we don't know if he's actually going to defend in the chamber itself. Because sometimes they'll do that, or they'll do it's for the number one contendership. It goes back and forth. We don't know, not yet.
No, I'm pretty sure Biggie's. I'm pretty sure. I think Slater's right that maybe I think Bobby Lashley might be defending within the cage. That could be right, but I wouldn't mind seeing Kevin Owens win it in the cage. Because I think the cage. They take like 3. I know if Bobby Lashley goes in as champion to defend inside the cage, that takes away 1 slot, correct? But there's usually 3 from Raw, 3 from SmackDown to make it fair. So if Bobby Lashley comes from whatever type brand he's on, probably Raw, I think, they'll make 2 more Raw people, 3 SmackDown people. He is in the chamber. Okay, yeah. So yeah. I mean, like, I don't mind. And if someone like Kevin Owens or Big E wins and then they headline WrestleMania, that'd be cool. I can see other people like maybe Sami Zayn being in it, Seth Rollins being in it, Kevin Owens being in it, Big E being in it, and then I don't know who else. Drew McIntyre most likely will be in it. That's 5 right there. I think I named. So there you go. Will can make a bold prediction because we know it's going to be wrong. Go ahead, Will. I love you, Will, but you get mad when your predictions are wrong and mine are right. And anyway, can we move on to the next match while Will makes a bold prediction? Yeah. Okay. Next match features legends. Or wait, sorry. How do they do this? The Grit couple versus the It couple. The Grit couple being Edge and Beth Phoenix. Delicia's been waiting for this forever against Miz and Maurice. Delicia, go ahead.
Do not be excited for. Okay, I guess I can understand why some people might not be, but these are two couples who have just for the last couple of weeks just been going at it, and we've seen how Maurice kind of wants no parts of Beth Phoenix, and if you look at that, I would understand. I don't want no parts of her either. She will tear me in half. But the two that started the match, I will say shouts out to the matching gear on both sides. They both look great. I know, Kyle, you said Beth kind of had like a, what's the name of the game again?
Horizon Zero Dawn. She looks like Aloy.
Yeah.
All right, wait. Before Will actually made a good prediction, which I will allow to happen. So this is something I will allow. So mark this down. Will says that AJ wins the title at Elimination Chamber and faces Edge at Mania for the title. I will allow that. So Will, if ever your predictions were right, this is the one I will allow to be right. Go ahead, Delicia. Sorry.
That'd be cool. That'd be a good matchup. There's no way that could be a bad match unless they're both in like wheelchairs, and even then they still make it a good match. So we had Maurice and Beth to start, and as like I said, Maurice wanted no part. She tried to run out of the ring immediately, which prompted a tug of war between Miz on the outside trying to pull her out and Beth on the inside trying to pull her in. You know, just funny spots like that. But actually, because of Maurice's wanted to not be involved, a lot of times we got more of a Miz and Edge one-on-one into the matches, with kind of the women getting involved perimeterly around the perimeter of trying to keep the other one from trying to hit the other. Well, mainly trying to keep Maurice from trying to play heel, as she does very well in getting to Edge. There's actually been a couple times when, of course, when the ref's back was turned, I think, Maurice would like taunt Edge or like smack him in the face. Of course, getting the ire of Beth, so she would kind of leave the apron to go deal with Maurice, so that would also leave Edge not being able to tag her in. So until it almost finally happened a little bit, but then she would quickly tag Miz back in. Also, this ref was very lenient towards like the middle end of the match, to where I believe Maurice might have been slammed on the outside, and to where Beth was going after Miz when she's technically not, the legal person in the ring, and the ref just standing right there, letting her get her hands on him. So I don't know what the rules of this match was. It's like they wanted it to be an intergender match so bad, but they just didn't. I mean, because we don't get those anymore. But it was just very weird. Although we did get to see her, I don't know if it was a suplex, and then Edge like forearm smashed him or whatever, or she slammed him anyway. Again, in full visual of the ref. So, which you're only technically in tag team rules, you're only allowed 5 seconds to be in the ring to get yourself out. But again, I also was having problems with it because I was having so much fun. Excuse me. But we also did get we tried to get another brick pocketbook return, where Maurice tried to hit Beth with it. She was out for a little bit, but again, like I said, leaving Miz with Edge being more one-on-one. They tried to hit a double skull crushing finale onto the Miz, but that didn't work. But we did get a nice little Hurricanrana from Maurice, which you definitely don't see her go to the top rope often. So that was pretty cool to see, and they sold it really well. But all in all, at the end, after trying to get the skull crusher finale onto Edge, Maurice would get speared, and then they would get a double spear, Beth and Edge that is, onto Miz to then go for a tandem glam slam on their respective peoples, Beth onto Maurice and Edge onto Miz, letting Edge pin Miz, and they have won. I wasn't sure how I felt about that. I had fun with this match. It just seemed like I think I told Cal this before the match started a couple of days ago. Like, I thought that Maurice and Miz would win via like some sort of shenanigans, and then we would have this play out like later on, maybe at Mania or something like that for some reason. I don't know, but we didn't get that. They just won kind of cleanly. So I guess we're maybe, I don't know. But what really saved it for me is that you can tell that these four just love working with each other and being able to work with their partners. So that was enough for me that they were having fun with it in the ring. So that's why I didn't really mind it. We might revisit this again down the line, but we don't really know what Beth's contract status is. I mean, she does have a full family to to look after, as well as far as whatever else that she has to do. But we'll see. But all in all, I did have fun with it, and they had fun with it, and that was fun. Sorry, and I was fine with that. But Cal, I know you didn't really like the whole feud to begin with, but did you enjoy the match at least, or some part?
Yeah, it was. I wasn't look. I was like, well, this is gonna be the bathroom match. I didn't expect this to be the bathroom match, but hey, it was the bathroom match. Being the match between the last two matches, like so, it's the second to the last match. I love The Miz. I love Edge. I know Delisha loves Beth Phoenix. I don't really even know much about Beth Phoenix. I've been watching wrestling all my life pretty much, so I still don't know much about Beth Phoenix. Like, she's a Hall of Famer. I remember joking with Delisha, like, she's a Hall of Famer. All I remember is her kissing Great Khali to eliminate him for the Royal Rumble. I really don't know much about her. Maurice, I don't really know much about other than she's married to The Miz. They didn't really do it for me in back then what was known as the Divas division. They didn't really do anything for me, so, like, I didn't really know that they were as prominent as they were. Back in the day for me, it was like Trish and Lita were the big names in the Divas division, Michelle McCool and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I could see why this match happened. It always seems to happen with Miz and Maurice, right? When before it was John Cena and Nikki Bella, now it's Edge and Beth Phoenix, and they always seem to lose. They don't need to always lose. Like, I love Edge, I love Edge, but they gotta let these guys win. Like, Miz loves the business too much. I have to give it to Miz. Like, he loves the business too much. He doesn't mind putting anyone over. Edge doesn't need to be put over. But can this couple, be the it couple, finally win a match? I hope if not... Oh my god, I hate Daniel Bryan so much. But I'm saying for the fact that can Daniel Bryan just come back to team up with Brie Bella just so they could lose to Miz and Maurice? That'll be the icing on the cake. And then have Daniel Bryan get injured and end his career. That would be great in that match. But if Miz and Maurice can beat Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella eventually in the future, that will make up for all the times Miz and Maurice have lost to either John Cena, Nikki Bella, Edge, and Beth Phoenix, and then whoever other couple, like maybe it's going to be down the road, it might be Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Who knows? Whatever couples we have, it's going to suck that when Miz and Maurice keep losing. I just need them to win once. And if it's against Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella, that would make up for every loss they ever had. It was a fun match. Like I said, Miz and Maurice will give it up to the company all day, and I respect them for that. I love Edge. I was gonna say Edge and Beth Phoenix. I couldn't care less about Beth Phoenix, but Edge I love. Fun match. Bathroom break match. Did not expect that. I expected this to open it or be at least the third match, but it was fun regardless. Oh, Corey Graves and Carmella. Thank you, Will. Final match of the evening was the men's 30-man over-the-top battle royal for the winner, where the winner gets challenged their champion of choosing at WrestleMania. So, the match started out... I'll get to Will's stats afterwards. The match started out with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura, a dream match that we've always wanted for the longest time, which we did get at WrestleMania, which ended up being really crappy, especially the way it ended. But the New Japan and all that matches that they had were always dream matches. But AJ and Shinsuke started out. We had some other entries like Austin Theory, Ridge Holland, and the Street Profits. Then we had our first celebrity entrant at number 9 with Johnny Knoxville. AJ had a bunch of eliminations prior to this, throwing out a crap ton of people. What else? I'm trying to look at this. Oh, Almost came out, which is a big issue because Almost is like 8 foot tall, 500 pounds. So he's gonna pull that big man card like Kane or Diesel back in the day, or Undertaker or Yokozuna kind of thing. And I think he eliminated maybe like a few people, 2 or 3 people. Then basically, by the time I think Dominic Mysterio is the next person in, I mean, not next person, but like by the time Dominic Mysterio came in, all the previous people teamed up to eliminate Almost, which AJ threw him out at the like. So basically, it was like Austin Theory, Ridge Holland, Ricochet, Chad Gable, and Dominic Mysterio trying to throw him out because Chad Gable tried to come up with a plan to throw him out. At the end, AJ came out and threw him at the end. Like he was the one who tipped him over, much like paying homage to Shawn Michaels eliminating Diesel when 4 or 5 people were trying to eliminate Diesel from that Royal Rumble. Shawn Michaels came at the end and threw Diesel out, like was the tipping point to throw him out. The one difference is that Shawn Michaels and Diesel were still aligned at that point. At this point, Almost and AJ are not teamed up. Then we had the likes of Dolph Ziggler, Sheamus come out, Matt Riddle, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, Drew McIntyre made a return. He came out. Kofi Kingston came out. Unfortunately, had a botch spot. He was supposed to latch onto the wall like Spider-Man, but unfortunately slipped and he fell out. And he actually tweeted about that. That Delisha sent to me. Big E came out. We're not gonna talk about Entrant 27. And remember, Entrant 27 up to this point was the most winningest entrant ever. We're not gonna talk about who came out at 27 because he's a piece of trash that nobody likes. 28 was Return of Shane McMahon. 29 was the hometown favorite, Randy Orton. And number 30 was the Beast, Brock Lesnar, entering himself into the Royal Rumble after losing the title earlier in the evening. Ending up throwing out 5 men and ending up winning in the Royal Rumble, much like I predicted before the night even started, or maybe after the first match of the night. I predicted that. And I'm so happy to see Brock Lesnar come out and win the Royal Rumble. That was fantastic. He had 5 eliminations. Only lasted 2.5 minutes but he ended up winning. Let's go to Will's official stats. Will's official stats say that the rookies this time around were Austin Theory at number 3, Ridge Holland at number 5, Montez Ford at number 6, Johnny Knoxville at number 9, Angelo Dawkins at number 10, Almost at number 11, Rick Boogs at number 18, Madcap Moss at number 19, and number 27 we don't talk about because he's a piece of trash. Now, for the stats, longest survivor was AJ Styles at 29 minutes and 7 seconds. Most eliminations was AJ Styles with 6, 5 solo, 1 assisted. And shortest survivor is Kofi Kingston at 18 seconds with his botch. I'm sure he's supposed to last longer. And the winner being Brock Lesnar was 2 minutes and 32 seconds, or Will has a 2:33. And the most important fact that Will came out with this is that the now number 30 is tied for the most wins as number 27, at least for the men's Royal Rumble. So that was cool to see. I was so happy to see Brock Lesnar come out and win it. Felicia, your thoughts?
Yeah. The women's Rumble, the people in it, Lesnar's side, I didn't mind seeing. It was just that throughout it was like clunky, and it's just like it literally felt like they put it together last minute, which if you do believe some of the rumor mills that they did. But yeah, when we had the Lesnar situation, I've been of 2 minds of it. On the one hand, I understand why Brock Lesnar is a big draw. He's gonna get the butts in the seats or the people's eyes on the pay-per-view. But on the other hand, they didn't. I guess this was the most streamlined way to get him to WrestleMania. But because of the history between him and Reigns, they didn't really even need to have him in the match. He literally could have showed up on SmackDown and speared the mess out of Reigns for the next couple of weeks, and until Reigns relented to give him the title shot. And we could have gotten there that way. But again, I guess I could also understand why they was like, oh, we'll put him in a Rumble. But again, much like when you saw Rousey, once he was there, you're like, okay, this is predictable or whatever. But yeah, Kofi, it's so unfortunate, but it was bound to happen with all the high stuff they tried to get him to do. It was bound to happen at some point. It just sucks that it had to be this year, but whatever. He wasn't going to win the Rumble anyway. But yeah, another stuff was fine. I will say, kudos to Knoxville and Bad Bunny for legit taking bumps, because as we've seen in the past, sometimes like the celebrities will come out here, they'll get their little free punch, and then they'll be on their way, or it's just something that looks sloppy. But both of them, we have the comedic moments with Knoxville, going after AJ and Sammy, and then just getting pulverized by AJ, Sammy, and Montez, and he took it like a champ. But I guess after all those jackass stunts, this was probably nothing. And then we have Bad Bunny like legit doing wrestling moves in the ring and pulling them off pretty well. We did get a preview of that last year at WrestleMania, but it was just like, dude, like legit loves wrestling, and I love it when we have celebrities that actually watch or like the product being involved in the product. So that I didn't mind that too. Yes, they took 2 spots away from someone who was actually on the roster, but this is we get these in rumbles all the time, so there's nothing really surprising about that. There was a lot of missing people who probably deserve to be there. Like I saw someone mention Cesaro, no Finn Balor, even though I think he was on the graphic card, which is weird, but apparently he was out of the country. I don't know, but yeah, but like I said, can we call it the Bunny Destroyer? Sure, sure. We'll call it the Bunny Destroyer. Me and Will are on Bad Bunny Island by ourselves, while Kyle is on.
Nobody likes Bad Bunny. He wasn't even in the Royal Rumble.
And but yeah, like much like the women's, like the people in it, I didn't really mind. It was just like it was just clunky and not cohesive. And again, sometimes we use the Rumble to like make some storylines that we can use further down the line, whether it be the next review or even further down the line in the year. And it's just like, no, we're not going to do that. And now we have our 2 part-time employees winning the Rumble and going on to WrestleMania. Sure. Okay.
Y'all are just salty that Brock Lesnar won the Royal Rumble. I love seeing it. Every time Brock Lesnar comes back and wins the title, wins the Money in the Bank, Big Time gets mad. Will gets mad. Slater gets mad. I love it. I love seeing it. You know why? Because he's great. He brings in the big bucks. He brings in the views. He brings in everything. Ronda Rousey, I like. She didn't need it there. But, man, I knew it, man. I called it. Brock Lesnar's going to go on and win the Royal Rumble, and I love seeing that. So that was great. I loved it. No one else needed it in there. No one else needed it. If someone else needed it, I wouldn't have minded if AJ won it. That would have been fine. But if I look at the picture up there, no one really needed it. Really.
Needed it. Brock and Ronda are the 2 who don't need it. They can just show up and people are going to be happy with that.
But for the storyline, the way they kind of skewed the storyline and messed up with COVID and all that, I know it's not their fault. But, you know, they're supposed to face earlier day 1, but now it's a WrestleMania marquee match because they can't get The Rock. This is what they're going to do. If you can't get The Rock, add a B to it and get Brock, you know? But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. And I'm happy. That brings us to our finishers. So we're going to go with Alicia and give her our low point, our high point, and overall grade.
I think I'm just gonna give it to like the incohesiveness of the Rumbles. This is the namesake of the pay-per-view. Like I said, all people involved, fine. It was clunky and just all over the place, and yeah, it was just a little weird for me. High point. I think I'm gonna give it to Seth and Reigns for just their overall badassery in the ring and selling the story of why they had this match to begin with. And I mean, ending aside, people probably didn't want the DQ finish, but it served the purpose. And overall grade, had it not been again for that clunkiness, I was actually, if I looked at card only, I was legit ready to give this pay-per-view an A. But at the moment, I think I'm gonna go with kind of like that C plus B minus range, just because a lot of things just didn't land for me. That's just me personally, you know, my opinions aside. But yeah, but overall, especially after sitting with it for a day or so, it was fine.
Yeah, for me, my low point was either Ronda winning or the Becky Lynch match. That was kind of not necessary. Also, Mason Race losing, but high point was probably the opening match, Rollins versus Reigns. That was a very good story and very good match. Overall grade, I'll have to get a B for Brock Lesnar winning the Royal Rumble because that was great. Welcome Skye Inc. Yeah, I think that was really fun to watch. But Where it goes from here, we'll find out in a little bit because I'm sure Raw is about to start or has already started, so we'll find out in a little while. But you've heard my predictions of what's going to happen. So if it doesn't happen, you know why, because Vince probably watched AfterMat and then said, oh, it's too good of an idea, so let's not use it. But yeah. That's pretty much it. So, Delisha, where can we find you? And you have a little bit, I guess, some news that I guess you want to say, and I'll give the official report afterwards.
On Instagram and on YouTube at Delisha Renee TV. In lieu, if you were looking at my Instagram stories last night, in lieu of having a video this week, every night this week, with tonight being an exception because I am here, I am sharing what I'm making for dinner that night.
Well, you did share what you made for dinner tonight because it looked really good.
I didn't I feel like I didn't make it because it was just leftovers that I put on a stack.
It still looked good though.
Oh, thank you. But you can follow me on there if you want to get some cool recipe ideas for that. And usually I would say you can find me here, recapping pay-per-views. But the next 2 months are a little iffy, especially with the next pay-per-view coming up and where it is being aired. And also, if you did not know, I am also expecting my first child in the next 3 weeks, which is why I sound out of breath because we are almost there. And also, actually, I don't think we just remember that there is no pay-per-view for March. So the next time you will physically see me on the video screens of AfterMat will not be until our Mania recap, y'all.
Yeah, she's been a real trooper doing this while she's pregnant. So thank you, Delisha, for sticking with us throughout the show. As for our announcement that we're going to make, the next time you'll see us here on AfterMat will be Elimination Chamber. Like Delisha said, so a little bit of controversy behind, not really controversy, but Delisha and I spoke about it because I will support whatever she wants. We normally do not cover Saudi pay-per-views, out of respect to, women as well as how Delisha feels about them. We normally don't cover Saudi pay-per-views. However, this time it is officially one of the calendar monthly pay-per-views. Normally it's either Super Showdown or Crown Jewel, so we just be like, hey, not a big deal, we don't care about it. But this time around, it's actually one of the pay-per-views that are normally on the calendar for WWE, which is Elimination Chamber. So I spoke to Delisha about it. I told her I'll support whatever she wants. If she doesn't want AfterMat to cover it, we won't cover it because, out of her wishes, she is this show as well. But so she said she doesn't mind. She said, well, even though it's in Saudi Arabia, it is one of the pay-per-views that are part of the WWE calendar, so it's our duty to cover it. So she asked for me to still cover it. She'll sit out. She'll probably still attend the AfterMat, but I will have a guest host with me for that Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. That way the show can still go on. But it's, I'm going to stick with the Delisha wishes. If by then she wants to, if something happens drastically that she wants us not to cover it anymore, I will not cover it. But as of now, the next time you'll see us is on February 21st, the Monday, because the pay-per-view is on a Saturday. We'll be covering Elimination Chamber, our first ever Saudi officially covered a pay-per-view, because I know we talked about the first ever Crown Jewel on AfterTalk. This will be the first ever Saudi pay-per-view covered on AfterMat. But even though I just consider W pay-per-view not a Saudi pay-per-view, that just happens to be the location of the pay-per-view. So we'll still be covering that for those who know our policy about covering some Saudi pay-per-views. We will be covering Elimination Chamber since it is the official WWE pay-per-view. As for me, the next time you'll see me might be prior to that on February 18th, possibly. I've been talking about forever. Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West comes out on the 18th. If my delivery comes before the normal time I stream, I will be streaming that Friday night, Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West on February 18th. If not, I'll probably come the Wednesday after that, because Monday will be AfterMat. So until then, for myself and Delisha might have an extra tag team member to our stable, or an extra member of our stable the next time we see her. But until then, guys, keep slamming the haters to be the champion of your dreams. We'll see you next time.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on.